Welcome to the Hoosier Hero Podcast. I'm Christian, and with me, as always,
Collin Corn-Fed Walker.
Corn-Fed, everybody. Today we got lots of basketball stuff we're going to talk about naturally. We're going to be talking about Purdue basketball, which is close to my heart.
We're going to be talking about the Central Noble sniper.
Connor Esigian, he's a Wisconsin commit. We're also going to be talking about the most prolific scorer in Indiana history. Okay, and he did it like 60 years ago. And we got a special segment that we're going to try to do every podcast. Okay, that involves only him, not me. It's going to be pretty funny. I think you guys are going to like it. And then the last thing we're going to talk about today is something really dear to my heart. Don't ask me why. But is old former high school gyms and when people like to just tear them down. So we're going to be talking about that, kind of get that out there. And again, that could be a debate for even more than just today.
Shooting the technicals. Looky here. Hunter in the corner. Ivy for the win. From the corner. Luke Zeller at midcourt. Lifts it off past the bunker.
So, first thing we're going to talk about today in this week's podcast is a kid named Connor Esigian. He is out of Central Noble. And when I first heard about this kid, I received this like email that's through like the Indiana, IBCA, Indiana Basketball Coaches Association. I received this email, like, I don't know, at least something once a week, if not every, maybe 2 weeks, I guess. But first time I heard about this kid was in an email, and it's like they give like a player of the week and things like that, or performance of the week, and there's boys and girls. And I started reading about what this, like the numbers this kid was putting up in this one game. I think he had, I think he had like 6 or 8 threes. I think he had 8 threes in one of his games. Yeah, just torching them. So that kind of caught me off guard. I was like, who is this dude?
That's torch gang stuff.
Yeah,
right there.
Total torch gang stuff. So I looked into him, and there's, again, you can look stuff up online. I'll have some clips rolling here underneath so you guys can see him. But he is 6'4", okay, and he is a shooting guard, which is like that's Big Ten stuff. Obviously, that's Big Ten. That's ACC. That's that 6'4" shooting guard. That's pretty hard to stop.
Nice size, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's pretty hard to stop in high school basketball. And again, he goes to Central Noble, and a few weeks ago, he ended up setting the Noble County scoring record. Okay, and he had to break 2,000 points to do it. I think the other one was maybe like 1,997 points or something.
Yeah.
And I don't know for sure. Don't quote me on this. Okay, but I think it was Brad Miller. He went to one of the other Noble County schools. Like there's West, Central, and East Noble. Brad Miller went to Purdue, played in the pros, everything like that. That might be his record. Don't quote me. But yeah, Connor Esigian now over 2,000 points. And I've watched some video of him. Kid can get up, jam it, things like that, and he can shoot the lights out the ball. Just a couple things that I think are pretty awesome is that Central Noble's 21-2 right now. And in some polls, they were ranked number 1 in the state in 2A. So that's impressive. And there's some of his numbers in games are just silly. This isn't all of them, but I wrote some of them down. So it's like he had 33, 35, 28, 22. The 22-point game was of his team's 46. He had a 26, 21. He had a 34-point game, 30-point game, 36, and then he dropped 48 in a game.
Wow. Yeah.
Our team, our men's league team can't even score 48 points. So, I mean,
we might see this team in the state championship.
yeah, for real.
I mean, that's what you see when you go down there.
Yeah.
21-2. They're probably, beating teams by
a lot.
large increments.
They did win their conference tourney, I believe. And then his season low on the year is 14, which kind of sounds like, he only scored 14, but it's like he's probably I've watched some video of him. He does it in other ways too. Like he's a player and a teammate in other ways. Even some of those we call these low scoring. Okay, but like his 21, 26 point games and stuff like that. Some of the spread scoring throughout his team, like other guys are scoring double digits as well. So that's just kind of testament to that kid, But yeah, what do you think about him?
Well,
you watched some video.
I watched some video of him, and the title of the video, his name with Larry Bird Energy, and I was like, okay, Larry Bird's my favorite player. If you didn't know, and I was like, wow, this kid's got fundamentals.
Yeah,
he's he's pump faking like crazy, and that's how he's getting his buckets a lot of the time. Or even at the 3-point line, people are jumping.
You got to step out on him, or else he's going to bust it in your face.
Yeah, I love to see fundamentals. You don't.
Yeah.
So I would say he's not as athletic as probably the normal Wisconsin recruit or commit.
Yeah.
But he uses it in other ways. He gets to the basket with good old fundamentals.
Yep. So, definitely. And like something that I kind of saw too. It's like when he's saying throwing in pump fakes and stuff. This kid shoots from beyond the spike line. I mean, he's way out there. He's on the other side of the county when he's shooting the ball. So you got to get out on him. And if you don't, obviously he's gonna bust it. So again, you don't hit 8 threes in a game, or you don't score 48 points in a game, and especially into nowadays, like very rarely you're gonna score 48 points in the paint. So
pick your poison.
Yeah. So
he can dunk on you.
So in a couple, Colin said it. I said it. He's committed to Wisconsin, and I know he was looking at like Wake Forest. He went and visited Wake Forest. I know Minnesota was after him. I heard that Matt Painter was after him at Purdue. But I know he ended up narrowing it down, and he was Wisconsin's first commit of this recruiting class. So out of anybody they picked up, he was the first. So,
congrats to you if you're watching this.
Kudos, dude. Yeah, that's freaking awesome playing in the Big Ten.
And that Central Noble gym is pretty cool.
Yeah,
too.
Yeah.
I like how it's got behind the side where the players sit.
Yeah,
it's kind of like the Civic where it's about 6 foot up. There's a
wall.
wall.
Yeah.
Have to check that out sometime.
Yeah. Us. Yeah. Connoisseurs of high school gyms. So yeah, dude. So just giving a shout out to him if you haven't gone. We haven't had a chance to go see him, but we have watched video, and he seems like he's pretty fun to watch. So yeah,
probably make a trip down to the state finals this year. So
let's do it.
If he makes it, then we'll definitely see him play in person.
Yeah, definitely, man.
Give you guys some coverage.
Yeah.
Set up the
the podcast right in Gainbridge Fieldhouse. We're getting our press passes, baby. Yep. So, I can go on and on about this for a long time. As I said, I don't know, maybe people don't know, but I'm a huge Purdue fan. Sorry, IU fans, my bad. You don't have to hate me that much, but I'm a huge Purdue fan. My dad he's going to correct me, but I'm about 100% positive. When it comes to football, my dad got season football tickets, starting to get season football tickets Drew Brees' senior year. So we've had football tickets that long, and basketball, obviously it's harder to get tickets at Mackey Arena, but we've been on the waiting list for quite a few years. But we try to go to as many games as we can down at Mackey Arena. So Purdue's pretty hot this year, if you guys don't know that. Okay. And today's Sunday, the day before President's Day, so we're filming this, and they just beat Rutgers like an hour ago. And obviously, many of you know that Rutgers, Ron Harper Jr. hit a insane buzzer beater at the beginning of the season to knock them off when they finally reached the number one spot in the country for the first time ever in program history. So the question is, Colin, and again, there's been some naysayers out there, but can the Boilermakers win the Big Ten first, and can they possibly get to the national title game?
I'm a believer.
You're a believer.
I'm a believer.
Tell me why you're a believer.
Well, I love the way they play with the big man, Edie.
Yeah.
I like that's my favorite type of ball when you have the 4 out with the big man.
Oh, yeah.
What is he, 7'4"?
7'4", 295, baby.
And they are just dominating teams. Other than I almost lost hope when I watched them play Michigan.
Yeah, that was a little brutal right there.
That was brutal. But I mean, if this doesn't go, I placed a bet over a month ago that Purdue was going to win it all.
Well, that's big. That's some big pants right there.
Like
man.
$5 down. Payouts high. The odds were pretty low, but every year I put down Purdue to win it all because I'm a Purdue fan. Yeah. And so if I just keep doing that, I'm feeling this is the year. There's a lot more hope than previous times.
I agree with you. I obviously when the year that they went to the Elite Eight and was freaking whatever, a bucket away basically from going to the Final Four with Carson Edwards his senior year, like Ryan Klein, I think Grady Eifert was on that team, but that was, I didn't expect that out of that team, I guess, and that's no knock on any of those guys. This year though, I don't know if it's just because they've been able to stay within the, that top 10-ish area, so it's I don't know if that's a big thing. I don't know if it's the senior leadership. There's a lot of leadership out there that I can see with Trevion Williams and Eric Hunter Jr. Again, not scoring a ton of points, but man, just the way he it's kind of like himself, how he presents himself in a game and the poise he has, especially this last half of the season. He's been doing a really good job. Eric Hunter Jr., for you guys that didn't know this, he is Marion County's, and why I say this is because Eric Hunter doesn't score a lot of points at Purdue. He is Marion County, which is Indianapolis.
Yeah.
All-time leading scorer. Think about all the guys come out of Indianapolis.
Ooh.
He is the all-time leading scorer in Marion County history. It's way, way, way over 2,000 points. It's I think it's over 2,500 points.
Man.
Dude is a bucket. So that is to me, even though he doesn't score, when he does hit, I think when he's left-handed, you all know lefties, they're going in. I think it's going in every time. So, and again, they beat Rutgers tonight. I would have to say handily. So yeah, for sure.
I like watching Jay
Nivey. Oh yeah.
South Bend.
Yeah.
South Bend native. I think he went to Lalomere.
He went to Mishawaka Marion, and then he ended up.
Mishawaka.
Yeah, he went to Mishawaka Marion.
Okay.
And then he ended up going, which it's actually so weird to think this. Right behind this backdrop, you go that way about 2 miles up this county road, right behind our house right here, and you're at Lalomere. Yeah. It's really weird. And if you've never been there, there's a lot of hype around. We're talking about Purdue. There's not a lot of hype there, but a little plug. That is a really cool gym.
That's a unique gym.
It's a unique gym. It's like a swim. I ain't gonna get into it. Look it up. Go to a game.
Was it a swimming pool at one point?
That's what it reminds me of. You could fill it up with water. It's I'm not gonna get into it. But we're Jerry. That's just up the road actually. So, but yeah, Purdue is the most when it comes to offense is the most efficient team in the country. Number one in the country, but their defense efficiency is it's 150 something, which is this is where the naysayers come in, is that it would be absolutely unheard of, unprecedented if a team with that defensive efficiency ranking were to win a national title. It's next to impossible is basically what they're saying. And with that also being said, is Purdue is 165th in Division I basketball in points per game allowed, and obviously the margin is there's a lot of teams squished into just a few points, but they do allow 68.7 points a game. They are averaging tonight it went down a skosh, but 83 points a game. Get this for you. The number one team in holding teams to the lowest points per game at 55 points per game in the country is North Texas. North Texas knocked Purdue out in the first round of the NCAA tournament last year. So that's kind of ironic. So, but yeah, so Purdue's at 165 in the country at points per game, and the team that happened to knock knock them out last year is number 1 in the country at holding people at 55 points a game. So pretty crazy, man.
That's an interesting stat.
I did also see too. And again, Indiana native, we can talk about this guy all the time. Sasha Stefanovic, okay?
Yeah.
Went to Crown Point, double nickel, okay? Number 55. Purdue is shooting 40% from the three-point line as a team. It's like 40. Wow. It's like 40.8% as a team. So, and today that was before today's game, and they were hot today. So,
can't play D, but
you can light it up.
They can light it up.
Yeah. Yep. Can't beat them. Can't hold them. Better score more points than them, right? It's all that matters. So,
it's like that one school in Tom Shack's conference where they played Ripon. I can't remember the team. They're up in Wisconsin, and their method
was just out.
Just shoot every time.
Yeah.
Like, come down the court, shoot as quick as you can. We don't play D.
Yeah.
And just beat them all offensively.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow, that's insane, dude.
That's to the extreme.
Yeah, for sure. So, yeah. Yeah, can Purdue win the Big Ten? Now, Purdue, the Boilermakers, okay? Boilermakers, they've got three upcoming games, then Big Ten tournament, okay? They're at Michigan State, okay? Tom Izzo, Breslin Center, super hard.
Yep.
You
should have picked up those tickets from Wags, man.
I don't know, Joe. I don't know, man. Yeah.
You still got them?
Yeah, I don't know if Joe still got them. I should
That'd
have
be
asked him
sweet.
today when he was reffing.
Yeah. That would be a really good game to go to.
Yeah.
They get hype there.
So Breslin Center's pretty crazy. At Michigan State. Then they're at Wisconsin. Okay. And then at Mackey Arena right now, minimum ticket on StubHub, $315 for a seat against the IU Hoosiers. So that's, I think, March 5th. So,
man,
if we want to dump some money, it should be pretty crazy.
Or if you're a student there at Purdue, maybe we could
slip you some money.
Yeah, give us your student ID for the day.
Right. In the paint crew, baby. Going crazy. I mean, I look like I'm 14.
Yeah, you'd fit in.
Yeah, really I fit right in. So
I might have to shave the stash.
Yeah,
no college kid could pull off a stash like this.
I look like Sherman. I look like Sherman from Sherman and Peabody. So, Collin, who is the best scorer in Indiana you've ever seen? Like high school basketball, who's the best scorer? I don't care who it is. I mean, like, I don't. Man. You can be totally biased because I would be biased. In a way, someone from my high school, but who would you say?
That's a tough one. Have to go with Ben Walker.
Yes. All right. That's funny, man.
I get in trouble if I say anything else.
That's true.
Family.
It's true. So we're going to be talking about in Hoosier Heroes' humble opinion. And I truly I guess it can be argued, and it can be argued by standards of like today's player is more athletic, more skilled, all that stuff. Don't get me wrong, okay? Because we're going to be talking about a player from graduated in 1957, okay? But arguably Hoosier Heroes' most prolific scorer in state history, okay, who we think is a guy named Phil Wills. Okay? And Phil Wills went to a super, super tiny, very tiny high school in Fulton County, which is Logansport, Rochester. So this is in northern Indiana, okay, area. Okay? And the enrollment of Grass Creek, take a guess.
Lower than Westville?
Oh, yeah.
Lower
Take a
than
guess.
Lacrosse?
The enrollment of the high school was what it was when he graduated in 1957. It's
75?
Lower.
That's like one class. Lower.
Lower than 75, yes. There was, yes.
50
lower,
kids.
How many?
50?
Pretty 61 kids.
61 kids for the whole school.
61 kids in the entire high school. In this anomaly, I'm going to call them an anomaly, obviously.
Yeah.
Popped out, okay? And he did this in the 56-57 season. And so Phil Wills grew up on a farm, okay? And he always played point guard, all right? And he was always, just short, like a point guard, whatever, growing up. And like in his freshman year of high school, he was like 5'8", running point guard. All of a sudden, like sophomore, junior, and then senior year, he hits growth spurts. He keeps growing and growing, yet he always had the skill of a point guard, and he ended up being 6'5".
Wow.
So you guys got to think about back then in the 50s, if you're 6'5", you are obviously that's an anomaly in itself, and you're going to be playing underneath the basket, right? Phil Wills was playing point. What? Say it?
Might have been the tallest kid in the school with only 63 people there.
Easily. Yeah, probably easily, yeah. And he would end up playing point guard, and would shoot the ball from deep. And what were you going to do when you got 6'5" shooting a jump shot in your face? And so that year, his senior year, something, I don't know what really happened, but something just clicked, and he averaged 42.2 points per game.
Wow.
Not 32, 42.5 points per game, essentially, is what he averaged.
He must have had some people that could score on his team, or else they would have just put 5 guys on this. I mean,
that's exactly what they did. No, that's what they did.
He's still averaging 42.
That's what they did. Yes, the other team. I heard stories. I've read things. One story was that anytime Phil Wills had the ball, they would put somebody in front of him playing defense, and there would always be somebody behind him playing defense. So, let's say you stop and pop a jump shot. There's a guy in front of you, and there's a guy behind you trying to swat the ball as you're shooting it. Tried everything. Yeah.
Well, you get good at that. If you're from the farm, Dad can park a planter in front of you.
Just shoot over the
and
planter,
a Model
baby.
A tractor behind you, and you get used to stuff around you while you're shooting.
Sack up some hay bales. Wasn't
nothing to him.
Yeah, right. This dude obviously just raining buckets. Okay. So I have some of his scores here that he scored in games, and so he had Tolma High School. He had 45 against Tolma. Star City, he had 45 against them. Pulaski, he had 49. This dude's just ripping these out. This is every Friday night. This is what you're gonna go see. 47 against Lucerne. He had 40 against Lucerne in the sectional, which was in the Old Berry Bowl in Logansport. And that set the Berry Bowl record for the most points scored in game high in that gym. Okay, but it doesn't stop there. He ended up hitting 53 points against Macy, and then against Maderryville, he scored 60. He was 24 for 35, and he was only 12 for 21 from the free throw line. Imagine he hits those free throws. Dude's almost got 70 points.
His arm was tired.
Yeah, man. I guess so. He's probably getting quadruple teamed or 5 people on him. It's going to be pretty tough. So yeah, and Phil Wills that year, and I think this is a really good argument of why, regardless of how long ago this was. One, there's no 3-point line.
Yeah, insane.
Right? We just got done talking about Connor Sejan hitting 8 threes in a game. That's 8 more points, right? Okay, that's 8 more points. And I would have to say that from reading that Phil Wills was shooting 3 balls, okay? No, even if the gym wall was the 3-point line because the gyms were so small. But that year, and this is, again, really good argument, he shot 69% from the field.
Let me stop you. That is a Hoosier Hero podcast stamp of that's a torture. Stamp of approval from us. You shoot 69%, you get the stamp of approval.
Phil Wills starts right now. We're going to have an all-time torch team. The all-time Indiana high school basketball torch team. Phil Wills starts it out. He's the first player on the team.
Yep.
Phil Wills, he starts it off.
We might not have many more to add if you kids keep on sitting on your phones instead of shooting. This guy, all he did every day probably shooting in the peach basket.
Bucket.
He had to have been.
Bucket.
That's some serious muscle memory.
Shooting buckets, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've been through Grass Creek, and this is no knock to Grass Creek whatsoever, but there is truly nothing in Grass Creek. So that is amazing to me as well. And that this happened there, I guess you could say. Like, would you be as surprised to know that if you say, so I majored in histories, right? So I love this kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. My degree's in history. Would you be surprised if you heard that the all-time single season scoring holder was from Muncie Central or from a large Indianapolis school, or from Carmel, or from that wouldn't surprise you as much than a kid from Grass Creek, Indiana, population literally 100. Okay,
do they have a restaurant there?
I don't know, because I've been through it. There's an old grain elevator that me and my dad on our rides, which I'm going to get to later about me and my dad. It's an old grain elevator that was half coming down. There was a park where the high school used to be. There's no gym or anything like that still up, and there was just some houses. I don't really remember. There might have been a little storefront that nothing's in it.
Yeah.
Anymore.
So how far is this from us?
It's an hour.
It's about an hour.
Hour south. Like I said,
We'll
it's Rochester area, but Fulton County. Go ahead.
Well, I was just saying we'll have to check that out sometime.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. So Phil Wills was selected that year as an Indiana All-Star, and obviously throughout this I've been putting pictures up, and you guys will see this picture right now of him on the All-Star team, and obviously those small schools don't exist anymore in Indiana. They've done consolidated, so he will always hold this record, if you want to call it. He is how do I say it? He is, when he was selected to the All-Star team, Grass Creek was the smallest high school ever in enrollment for someone to be selected to the All-Star team. Does that make sense? So yeah. He came from the smallest school, represented the smallest school ever to be an Indiana All-Star. Phil Wills went to good old West Lafayette. Yep. He graduated from Purdue in 1962, and his game high in a game at Purdue in the Big Ten was 20 points, man. So he can still stroke in college, man.
Yeah.
So he was a Boilermaker. And then maybe even, I don't know if you wrote this down, I got it written down, but probably the greatest achievement, which I think is this just tells you what a kind of guy this guy was.
Yep.
What did he end up doing? And he ended up getting
2
drafted.
Bronze Stars and a Purple Heart from Vietnam duty.
Yeah. And a presidential citation. So this dude, when he ended up serving in Vietnam, 2 Bronze Stars, a Purple Heart, and president citation for his service in Vietnam. So that's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
So
I respect that.
I believe he passed away in 2016. So it wasn't too long ago he passed away, but he did end up. I think he owned a trucking company. And I think he ended up residing in Mooresville, Indiana. But yeah, just insane, dude.
Yeah, 6 years of service.
This record has been intact. And just think about, me and you went and saw Luke Brown play last year against Caleb First at that north side. Remember Luke Brown? Kid's at Ball State now, but I mean, he was unbelievable. Luke Brown, he scored 37 points in that game. Didn't hit the 42.5 like Phil Wills, man. I mean, it was just, this record still stands. Damon Bailey didn't hit. I
gotta imagine people were traveling pretty far
I'm sure just to see what
he had to have been the talk of many towns.
That's so funny you say that. So in that year, so Wills is dropping these 40 plus points games, okay? And against Kiwanis, he only had 39. And then the headline in the sports section was something like that. Wills only has poor effort by Wills with 39 points. It was like, and people were upset because he didn't break 40. It's like, could you imagine having that weight on?
Problem to have.
Yes, that is.
He had the whole school on his back.
The whole school. You want 39? That's all you got. Wow. So, but yeah, we will have to maybe get down to, I don't know what we could find in Grass Creek, but maybe there's something down there we'll try to come up with, because I think it is my, like, don't get me wrong, I wanted to do this when we first, like, we started this podcast, this is only our second episode. This is one of the stories I wanted to first hit because it is one of my absolute favorite history facts when it comes to Indiana high school basketball. Like, and again, don't get me wrong, love Damon Bailey, filled the Hoosier Dome. Love hearing about Romeo Langford and all the points in Luke Brown, and you can think of other, Marion Pierce, whom Damon barely broke his scoring record. But this record, for some reason, I just don't know why, I just couldn't fathom scoring 42 points a game. Cool.
It's an underdog story.
Total underdog story.
Some guy from Grass Creek.
Grass Creek.
Top of the list.
The Grass Creek Panthers. That was their nickname. Panthers. The Grass Creek Panthers. So, yep.
Oh, hey. Greetings, Indiana basketball fans. My name's Colin. Today, I'd like to talk about a few things on my mind. First, I'd like to thank concession stands everywhere for serving my favorite dish, the walking taco. That ground beef from the plastic baggies, frozen for many years, the crunchy Fritos, lettuce, if you want to call them tomatoes, and a big lop of sour cream. Just don't eat one before a game. Secondly, I'd like to thank the man who invented breakaway rims. For those on-the-road games in high school, my three-pointers probably would have popped out if they were tightened correctly. But man, those rattle in, give you that good old Indiana roll. And lastly, and this one's important, I'd like to give a shout out to the McDonald's on 421 in Westville, Indiana. You guys are the reason I wasn't the all-time scorer at Westville High School. Because I had a McChicken and a McDouble before every game. The blood wasn't flowing so well, and I wish I would have known that like I do now. Thanks for tuning in to Colin's Corner. We're back.
Yeah, we're back. Little bathroom break. So, yeah. So this is going to be our last segment we're going to talk about today for me and Colin. You guys, it's on the channel. Click it, watch it. It's good. It's short. The other day, me and Colin and his girlfriend Mary made a trip to Fort Wayne. We went to Sweetwater Music in Fort Wayne, and on the way back, and again, check it out in the video, we stopped by an old high school gym that has a crazy little story behind it. And unfortunately we didn't get to go in it, but still go watch the video. You guys won't actually, it's pretty hard to believe. Yeah. Truly. But that being said, I want to talk about something that me and you like to experience, or it's like an activity we like to do. But I kind of want to talk about how it came about with me and from a very young age. And that is going around back roads, little towns, like middle of nowhere type stuff with my dad as a little kid, looking for old high school gyms. Now, in recent times, and when I mean recent times, I'm talking like big social media times, like 2014, 15, and then up. It seems to me like with Instagram, YouTube being huge, Facebook, all that kind of stuff, that because I follow this stuff, that there's a lot of people looking for the old high school gyms in Indiana. Okay.
For good reason.
Yeah, they're freaking awesome.
They're awesome.
Cool stuff. But as a little kid, and I'll flash some pictures because I know my mom has some. Okay. As a little kid, if me and Dad needed to go somewhere, so like if me and my dad were, because we're up in the northwest part of Indiana, and we needed to go across the state somewhere. So say we did have to go to Fort Wayne, all the way east. Say we had to go down to West Lafayette, Purdue football games or basketball games, okay, or cover bridge festivals, Park County, places like that, okay. My dad would not just take the highway. He would take every back road without a map. We never had a map. And the idea is that Christian, let's go, like, and I'm this little guy, right, from here to, and let's go find these old high school gyms that might still be up. They could be cattle barn. They could have tractors in them. Maybe they're, as you'll see, go watch that video. Maybe they're a church, anything like that. Factory, yeah. Yes. Machine shops, like all that kind of stuff.
Or just rotting away.
So when I was little, that's what we would do. And it became like, I don't know why. It's because I love basketball. I love shooting and love playing. But like, and as a little kid, I didn't know it, like what nostalgia was, but I loved it. And I don't know if it's because Dad would play Hoosiers for me and I would watch Hoosiers. And like, this is how my dad is. Get this. Like, my dad, before the Hoosier gym was what it is now, okay? It's like this tourist attraction, right? Mm-hmm. You can rent it. I've rented it. My dad and me and my mom, before my brother's, how old are you, Luke? 23? 23. He's 23. Before Luke was born, so I had to have been less than 5 because I'm 28. We went to the Hoosier gym, and it was like locked up. And it was not what it is at all. And we have home video on like a camcorder of us. And this old timer just opened it up, and we got to walk around it. And it smelled like it. And now it's just this amazing. But the floor was buckling. It
smelled like what? I want
mildew. Yeah. I mean, it was not. It was still the some older scoreboards and just things like that. So we got to check that out. And all these gyms, dude, we would go. And again, I became fascinated with it. And again, so like, there's lots of people writing books. This is a fantastic book from the Hoosier Hardwood Project of all lots of pictures of the old school gyms and stuff in there. But again, I had become zoned in on it from a very young age. That's all I wanted to do is go find old gyms. So me and you, at times, have driven across the state.
Yep.
And I would show him some of these old gyms, and some of them like you couldn't believe some of them what they are. One time, me and him, this wasn't necessarily a high school gym, but it was a piece of history. We went through New Richmond, which is Hickory, which is the actual town where they filmed Hoosiers. The town itself, obviously not the gym or the school. And if you guys,
we got to talk to some locals
there. What was her name?
At the diner, little greasy spoon.
Yeah, that was awesome. We got ice cream, and then she was what was her name? She was the post. We stopped.
She was in the movie.
She was in the movie numerous times. She was the postmaster of New Richmond at the time they wanted to come in and film, and she had to convince the local, like everybody in New Richmond, that the director and producer of Hoosiers, they were legit, basically, and let's do this. And look at it now. Not because I'm biased. No, it's the greatest sports movie of all time.
Yeah, 100%. And a lot of the local people there were in the movie.
Yeah,
as like filler.
And she would like travel to all the different scenes. Like she would go to Knightstown from New Richmond across the state, and she's behind the bench in numerous scenes in the gym and stuff.
Yeah.
And speaking of Hoosiers, like this is again us driving around. My dad driving around Indiana. So we end up again before the whole Hoosiers kick, before the Hoosier gym was what it is now. We went to Nineveh, Indiana, which is, if you guys don't know, that's where the schoolhouse is. Just the schoolhouse was filmed. Okay. And it had actually had burnt down. Somebody had got into it, and you know, arson. I don't know if it was necessarily arson, but burnt it down. But next to that was the old Nineveh gym, which was like dilapidated, like falling down.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad, being my dad, like, I don't know why, but it's just, again, just a piece of history. My dad took like a piece of foundation, like it was like a not the cornerstone, but like a piece of the corner of the Nineveh school. So when you watch the movie Hoosiers, okay, and you look at the bottom, there's like these big white blocks underneath in the Nineveh school and the Hickory school. And my dad has done like lawn care and landscaping for 20 plus years, and he incorporated that block and a piece of the gym, brick from the gym, into his landscaping. And, you know, my dad's won awards and everything here in LaPorte. And so, like, that's in my dad's flower beds, is a piece of the Hickory Nineveh school, which is the Hickory school.
That's cool.
Yeah. So, so in our vlog yesterday, or when we kind of went, and you guys can watch this, but when we went on our little vlogging adventure, we went through the one past the one gym, and then we end up going through another little town on the way home. And I said, you know, Collin, let's check. Like, I want to show you this. And he had seen it previously, and we wanted to show his girlfriend Mary, Mary's actually from Maine.
Yep.
And so we're trying to, I don't know what the word is, baptize her in Indiana basketball a little bit. She's a phenomenal basketball player, but at least the Indiana way, right?
Yep.
And in this little town, I was like, there's going to be a gym. It's coming up. You know, we're getting into the town. And I turned to, like, it would be on our left-hand side. And I look, and it's gone. The gym is gone.
Like it was never there.
It was never there. It's just a grass knoll. Like a grass little hill. And it was the last time I just went through the town, which was not that long ago. It was standing in I can't say for sure because, like, I'm sure there was things wrong with it. It was from 1928. So the thing's almost 100 years old. Okay. But it was in somewhat of condition that they played open gym in it, things like that. And I'm not gonna, you know, but if it wasn't I thought it was, but if it wasn't an Indiana like historic landmark, it darn well should have been. Okay.
Yeah.
And it was gone. So Collin looks it up, and the gym we're talking about, and again, this is not to dog anybody or anything like that, is the gym in Bourbon, Indiana. So home of the Bourbon Comets. It was built in 1928, gorgeous like little building. And Collin ended up looking it up, and ABC 57 out of Elkhart did a little video, right?
Yeah, a little video. Sure enough,
yeah. The school board had, after many years, and this is probably a tough thing, after many years of, you know, fighting, wrestling with tearing it down, because it cost them $15,000 to $20,000 a year to maintain it, heat and cool it. There gets to a point, and I was like, I was telling my cousin about this today. I was telling him about the gym, the Bourbon gym today in church, and I told my cousin, like, our church isn't that old. It's like built in the early 80s, and I said, Conrad, if we tore down the church and to build a new one, like, we're not gonna miss it. Like, there's not anything that can't be replaced in it. When you get to the point of something that's 94 years old, you can't replace something like that. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
it's all brick, right? I mean,
it was all glazed block.
It's not like this thing is rotting away. Termites haven't.
Yeah, that I know of. Maybe there was
you
leaks
can repair
in it.
Masonry.
Yeah,
you know.
I just couldn't believe that somebody didn't offer $1 for it.
Yeah. Someone could have turned it into anything. I mean, it's warehousing.
Maybe there was some stipulations or something. Maybe you couldn't turn it, but regardless, there is somebody out there that is probably give you $1 for that.
And what blows my mind the most is the school actually paid probably a substantial amount of money to get it torn down and everything
all the way,
where they could have just sold it to someone and it could have been used for the community. And not an efficient way to.
And again, I'm not.
Resources.
And again, I don't know. Me and Collin don't know what. Totally, we can just only go by what I read in a couple articles and what the news channel said. Okay. So I can't be really dogging anybody, but I don't
know if it was filled with asbestos or something.
Or yeah, exactly. Maybe there was, but
state
I just couldn't believe something that was in that grade of condition. Don't get me wrong. If the whole roof's collapsed in, all right, tear it down then. But if it was, and it was, like, there's pictures I've been flashing up of it. You know, it could be. It might. I know. I'm pretty sure the Hoosier Hardwood guys went in it. I don't know if it's actually in the book or not, but I'm pretty sure I've seen them talk about it. So then from Bourbon, we ended up coming up the way. We ended up coming up past Potato Creek State Park, north of North Liberty, so south of South Bend, and we went by another old school that I've never seen anybody else take pictures of or document or anything like that. And this is the Green Township School. And Green Township closed up in 1965 as a high school, but was an elementary school since. And in 2018, they shut their doors, and now the school is just sitting there idle. I read that South Bend schools use it for storage, and there's actually 2 gyms, and the one is from 1930, like even 1930. So that gym's almost 100 years old, and we saw that roof. We saw, you guys know how like roofs have like they're like big sheets of rubber that cover the roof. It's not shingle. It's not. And it was like a piece and you could see the wood on the other side of it. So that is, going to end up getting water in it, and you're going to end up, losing a building that could, that's not dogging South Bend or anything like that, but South Bend Community Schools, but corporation. But man, it was just like, it's sad to see some of this stuff. It's like, I can't believe that people don't want to, it's got, people don't want to just sell it for $1 then. It'll get you, it'll a burden. It'll be off your shoulders. I guarantee somebody would buy it. So, yeah, that was just something we were going to talk about old gyms all the time because that's one of my favorite things, and that's probably why I became a history major, because I loved the history of Indiana high school basketball, and the gym is kind of the.
Would have loved to, not to spoil our vlog, but I would have loved to go in there. I mean.
Oh, the one, yeah, go gyms. Watch it. We can't, you guys, the video's up, but we were not able to get in that gym yet, but hopefully someday.
Trespassing signs, but maybe if you work for South Bend schools.
Oh, in Green Township, yeah.
Yeah, I'm talking.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
Yeah, I heard that somebody told me, speaking of this, I've got this, which is pretty cool. It's not quite like this, but speaking of old rims, okay, at Green Township, I was told again, there was 2 gyms. One was built in 1930 and is in the center of that part of the school, and one was built in the very, very late 50s, and that one's still there too. That's a much bigger gym, but I hear that in the original one, there are rims. There are rims in the original Green Township school that are how do I say it? They're like incredibly rare. Like the way that they're almost like ornate, like one of a kind. Like people will pay thousands for them because they're so original. I'll have to flash a picture. I'm sure I can find one that I've been told are in that gym. But yeah, they're not quite like this. I thought this was super cool, but I pulled it out talking about rims. This is like literally like a door hinge, like an old barn hinge, welded. Definitely homemade.
Make sure you have your tetanus shot before you dunk on that one.
Yes.
That is cool. Yeah, look at the welds right there.
Yeah, the welds are insane. But yeah, man. So, but speaking of rims, so,
that's cool.
But yeah, so if you got an old gym, just talk to me first. I'll take it off your hands. I'll take the deed and I'll pay the taxes. Just let me know. Okay, don't tear it down. We got you covered. All right, guys. So, again, if you haven't checked out any of our vlog that we posted, please do. It's only like 10, 12 minutes, and I think you'll be entertained for that 10, 12 minutes. So, leave any comments you want to leave. Our Gmail is there, and also follow us on Instagram. We'll post some cool stuff on Instagram as well. Maybe next time we're going to get somebody else on here and have a little interview.
Yeah.
So be ready for that, and see y'all later.